Sun Tzu, the ancient military strategist, famously wrote, "Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt." If Sun Tzu were alive in the 21st century, watching the geopolitical maneuvers of Donald Trump, he might recognize a practitioner who has taken this advice to its extreme, evolving it into a modern psychological weapon: chaos engineering. Have you ever wondered why the world feels like it is perpetually on the brink of collapse whenever Trump makes a move? Stock markets shudder, foreign leaders panic, and the media cycle spins into a frenzy, unable to distinguish signal from noise. To the untrained eye, this looks like incompetence. It looks like the erratic behavior of an impulsive man who cannot control his emotions, or a leader who lacks the nuance for diplomacy. But what if I told you that the chaos you see is not a bug in the system, but a feature? What if the mess is actually a meticulously designed stage set? In game theory and psychology, this is known as strategic instability. Human beings, especially bureaucrats, diplomats, and elites, are biologically addicted to order. We crave predictable rules, established protocols, and polite discourse because they make us feel safe. Order allows us to plan. But Trump is an organism that thrives in entropy, the state of disorder. He understands a fundamental truth of power. In a structured system, the one who wrote the rules wins, and he didn't write them. Therefore, the only way for him to dominate is to flip the table, shatter the existing protocols, and render the old rules obsolete. Look at his actions on the global stage, whether it's trade wars with superpowers or escalating tensions with nations like Venezuela. Trump rarely begins with traditional negotiation. He begins by throwing a grenade into the room. It might be an impossible threat, a 3 a.m. tweet announcing sanctions, or the abrupt tearing up of a decades-old treaty. This triggers a neurological phenomenon in his adversaries known as cognitive overload. The brains of foreign leaders, whether in Beijing, Brussels, or Caracas, are thrown into a state of primal panic. Their amygdalas hijack their prefrontal cortexes. They waste precious time and energy scrambling to put out fires or trying to decipher what does he actually mean, forgetting their own leverage in the process. This is the core of chaos engineering, the disruption of the enemy's OODALoop. The OODALoop, observe, orient, decide, act, is the cycle of decision-making in combat. By generating a fresh crisis every 24 hours, Trump ensures that his opponents are always stuck in the observe phase. Before they can process yesterday's scandal, they're hit with today's threat. They are permanently forced into a defensive posture, unable to formulate a long-term offensive strategy because they have no idea which version of Trump they will wake up to tomorrow. Furthermore, this chaos acts as a sophisticated smokescreen. In magic, this is called misdirection. While the public and the press are screaming about his latest inflammatory remark or social media feud, Trump often uses the cover of this noise to execute significant moves, appointing judges, dismantling regulations, or shifting military assets without scrutiny. He transforms the media landscape into a battlefield of white noise, where the truth is drowned out by volume. In this environment, facts no longer matter. Only the loudest voice prevails, and no voice is louder than his. Trump does not govern like a president. He governs like a wrestling promoter, a role he actually held. In the world of professional wrestling, the audience doesn't want fairness. They want drama. They want heels and faces, conflict and plot twists. Trump has turned global politics into a reality show where he is both the director and the star. Paradoxically, the more chaotic the world seems, the higher his ratings climb among his base. Deep in the human subconscious, during times of crisis, we do not look for a good leader, we look for a strong man to protect us. Trump excels at manufacturing a crisis only to step forward and declare, "I alone can fix it." He is the arsonist who sells you the fire extinguisher.
The terrifying brilliance of this strategy is how effectively it dismantles slow-moving bureaucracies. Institutions are designed to handle linear problems. They collapse when faced with nonlinear, erratic threats. Trump acts like a virus in the immune system of the old world order, paralyzing checks and balances, not by being smarter than they can comprehend, but by being crazier than they can comprehend. While everyone waits for the dust to settle to see what happened, Trump has already made his next move. This is the power of chaos. It destroys those who cling to order and crowns those who dare to dance with the fire.
Once we accept that chaos is the ladder Trump uses to climb, the next question is, how does he control it without getting burned himself? The answer lies in a geopolitical concept known as the Madman theory. Originally associated with Richard Nixon, who tried to convince the Soviets he was unstable enough to launch nukes, Trump has refined this into an art form. The theory posits that if your enemy believes you are irrational enough to destroy everything, including your own economy or reputation, they will not dare to escalate. They will fold, retreat, or accept a bad deal simply to buy back a semblance of stability. In the context of Venezuela or other international standoffs, Trump doesn't just use military might, he uses unpredictability as a warhead. Today, he might threaten an invasion. Tomorrow, he might offer a summit. The next day, he might double sanctions. This volatility makes the cost of conflict incalculable for his enemies. Risk assessment becomes impossible. Negotiating with a rational actor is easy because you know they want to maximize their gain. Negotiating with someone who seems willing to pull the pin on a grenade while holding it is terrifying. That is exactly the psychological state Trump wants to induce. Going deeper, Trump's chaos engineering taps into the primal psychology of his own fan base. Evolutionary biology teaches us that human tribalism is strongest when the tribe feels under threat. Trump understands this viscerally. He manufactures a state of perpetual warfare, a war against the media, a war against the radical left, a war against foreign adversaries. By making his supporters feel that they are constantly under siege, he triggers the release of oxytocin in their brains. While typically known as the love hormone, in the context of intergroup conflict, oxytocin fuels intense loyalty to one's own tribe and aggression toward outsiders. The more chaotic and dangerous the outside world appears, the tighter the tribe clings to its leader. Trump positions himself as the sole savior, willing to speak the harsh truths and fight the evil system, the deep state. This explains why his poll numbers often rise after he is attacked or indicted. To his followers, the chaos isn't proof of his incompetence, it's proof that he is fighting a fierce battle on their behalf. He successfully reframes himself from the instigator of the turmoil into the victim hero standing in the breach. Another critical mechanism at play is anti-fragility. Coined by Nassim Taleb, this concept describes things that gain strength from disorder and stress, unlike fragile things that break. Trump has built an anti-fragile brand. Bad press feeds him, scandals make him famous, legal attacks validate his narrative of persecution. He absorbs the negative energy of hatred and converts it into political momentum. While traditional politicians hide from controversy, Trump runs toward it because he knows that in the modern attention economy, hatred is just as valuable as love. Both generate attention, and attention is the ultimate currency of power. The lesson we must learn is stark. In the world Trump has engineered, civility, truth, and decorum are devalued currencies. The only thing that matters is agenda-setting power. He who controls the chaos controls the game. If you are shocked, outraged, or paralyzed by his latest antic, you are a victim of his strategy.
The only way to defend against chaos engineering is not to run around trying to put out every fire he lights. Instead, you must look past the flames and focus on the structure he is quietly dismantling or rebuilding amidst the smoke. Eventually, the fire of chaos will burn out, but what remains will be a new power dynamic that was established while you were distracted. Do not let the noise of the storm drown out the whisper of reality. And remember, in the eyes of a chaos engineer, peace is not the goal. Peace is merely a product he keeps in stock to be sold only to those who are willing to surrender.